I've also said this, and I said it on our season opening show, and I've said it probably the last 2 times that you and me and Ron have got together on this show, and that is if they're doing a little too much winning for your liking, just wait till after the trade deadline, and it's going to fall off. We're going to see some even heavier tanking. So I'm expecting it. But that's part of the deal, part of what we signed up for. Well, part of what Kyle Davidson signed us up for. So we're in it. We're in it for the long haul, and we're in it for Bedard, Tony. That's really what I want. I know it's been bandied about a ton, and I don't like to beat it into the ground here, but man, that guy is so talented. And when you go and just see some of the highlights that come out of him, every team is desiring him. But man, I really, really hope we get him.
I think that's where a lot of people are, Johnny. Not only just Blackhawks camp, like you said, fans of any team who are near the bottom of the standings right now, they want Connor Bedard. And there's going to be some lottery luck involved in that. As you said many a times, you're praying for ping pong balls. But the Hawks have put themselves in a position where they're going to be able to draft an impactful player. I know Connor Bedard is the name that both of us are probably going to want. But, I mean, are you going to be totally disappointed? This is a random question. Are you going to be totally disappointed if the Hawks do, say, wind up with Fantilli? Is this season not going to be a success if they don't get that?
Not at all. And then no, I wouldn't say that at all. I don't think anybody would. It's obviously, I think it's just the kind of, you think, generational talent with Bedard, whereas all these other guys it's a very strong draft class. So this is the year to do it. So I like the timing on it. Like you said, there's a number of prospects there, Fantilli, and you can go down the board. And there's a few others there that will definitely be impactful NHL players. It's just kind of maybe a cream of the crop sort of deal versus a very, very solid player, right?
Yeah, and I mean, I think that there's a couple of takes that are floating around online, though, Johnny, that kind of scare me, where everybody just wants Bedard so much that, and you said it first, generational talent. Maybe I'm of the camp that sort of looks at number 1 overalls from one of our other favorite teams, the White Sox, and I say, like, maybe it's not the worst thing to miss out on that number 1 overall guy, because you could get a Yohan Moncada. I know that's a hot take over in White Sox land, but sort of as this thing is going, Johnny, and I don't know if it'll eventually flip, I'm starting to like what I see from Fantilli a little bit more and more each time I get the chance to watch him play some hockey. Maybe it wouldn't be the worst thing if the Hawks don't wind up with the number 1 pick. Now, Connor Bedard has given me no reason to think that he's not going to perform at the NHL level, but I just sort of want to temper expectations for myself. Maybe I'm trying to keep myself from being hurt when we come in and get number 2 or number 3. So I want
my advice: never give it up for the letdown, right?
Yeah. So let's not get up for the letdown. I want to sort of just look at this draft board as a whole here and go 1 through 5. If we don't get Connor Bedard, we still have to look at this and say, at least from my perspective, you're improving your team through this draft. There's no way, shape, or form the Hawks should come out of this draft without vastly improving the Chicago Blackhawks outlook for the future. I don't want to be disappointed and way up for the letdown if the ping pong balls don't go our way. So I want to sort of look at some of these other guys, I think, a little bit more in depth as we go through the second half of the season, instead of just, getting all excited every night over Connor Bedard highlights.
I agree. And I think it's you got to crawl before you can walk standpoint here. And this is a very, very long-term outlook. And don't get me wrong, any team would love to have Connor Bedard. And that's, I think, the goal, right? That's why you tank. That's why you try to, get towards the...
No one's tanking, according to Gary Bettman.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah, just like nobody dislikes the digital ads, right? Yeah. Gary Bettman, always reliable. However, back to my long-term take here. When you talked about it might not be the worst thing in the world if the Blackhawks miss out on it. Sure, that's just because there's a strong draft class and you're still going to improve the team no matter what, as long as you're getting one of those, kind of top tier selections there because it's a strong draft. But say Connor Bedard's the type of guy that's going to come in and probably play right away. Sure, you could maybe relegate a little bit of time, but he's going to force the issue so much that he's going to be worthy of NHL minutes basically right away upon being drafted, right? And the Blackhawks are still a few years away from contention. So you're using up some of those electric years and stuff. And sure, there's plenty of good that comes with that, attracting talent, free agents that want to come and play with this kid. Patrick Kane getting, if he stays around or comes back or whatever it may be, we'll get to that in a little bit. But him playing with Bedard, that's all fine and dandy. But the team as a whole, it's not just one guy that's going to turn it around. There's multiple pieces that need to filter through. There's other prospects that are in the system right now that still need developing. There's still positions that need to be sorted out, i.e. goaltender, who's going to step up in the future. So it's a team game. We know that in hockey. And maybe the early flashes of Bedard would get you a little too excited. And you can deal with the losing early on there, but then if you don't supplement around properly later on, then it feels like it might have been for not. So maybe I guess what I'm getting at here is getting ahead of ourselves.
Yes.
Could be an issue with Bedard just because you're so excited about it. But, like I said,
I'm right on that same wavelength.
It's honestly almost like a win-win with where they're at, just because of the strength of the draft.